At a staggering budget north of $187 million, this Jonathan Mostow science fiction action film was the most expensive film ever greenlit when it was released in July of 2003. Fortunately for Warner Brothers, it made around $250 million in profit. The R-rated plot once again focuses on a cybernetic warrior from a post-apocalyptic future who is sent back in time to protect a disillusioned drifter and a veterinarian from a robotic assassin. After a 12-year hiatus between installments, Arnold Schwarzenegger returns as the title character, in what would be his final role before assuming office as Governor of California for the remainder of the decade. A bit older, he's still strong and amusing, dishing out quips and punches effortlessly. Nick Stahl and Claire Danes co-star as the weak humans that need protecting, and despite their best efforts, they're just not terribly likable. Trying to motivate Stahl before battle, Schwarzenegger advises, "Anger is more useful than despair." Although the picture gets points for including a fun cameo from the Dr. Silberman character, the decision to kill off Linda Hamilton's iconic role with a throwaway piece of exposition is just insulting. She was the real heart of this franchise, and if the script wasn't strong enough to convince her to sign on, then maybe that's a sign it needed a rewrite. Christina Loken has almost no dialogue as the new TX villain, a sexy anti-Terminator dominatrix-like femme fatale who could control electronics remotely and morph into any shape. She's the strongest and most versatile enemy our heroes have faced yet, but for some reason, perhaps her performance or the clunky writing, she just isn't particularly menacing or frightening. Although stabbing a guy from the backseat of a cop car and then proceeding to steer while he remains impaled was pretty damn cool.
Why are you here? Where are we going? Keep moving. Get out of here! Now!
But far too much of Rise of the Machines plays out like an expensive cartoon, with gratuitous levels of destruction, including a ridiculous over-the-top car chase that sees a massive crane truck wiping out an office building, or a wall-destroying fistfight inside a bathroom. While there's some fun in this mindless action, the real draw of the 109-minute feature is the continued mythos of this fascinating sci-fi universe. Although some reworking of canon is required, showing the immediate events that caused Judgment Day itself is rather interesting. Rife with callbacks and one-liners, the movie's occasional use of humor works pretty well too, like an early clothing acquisition scene that parallels Part 2. Unlike the groundbreaking work of that film though, the visual effects here attempt to do too much. The work is competent enough, but it just isn't convincing to carry entire scenes. Like the aforementioned shot where Arnold dangles from a crane as it crashes through a building. It looks more like ragdoll physics from a video game. Brad Feidel's reused themes are incorporated decently well into Marco Beltrami's new score, which remains appropriate without ever being memorable. It's nowhere near the quality of the earlier pictures, but a really fantastic and well-written final scene saves this movie from being a complete cash grab. Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines is fast-paced fun that never truly disappoints. Here now are some of your reviews. It's hard to believe anything could live up to the bar set by Judgment Day, but that still doesn't excuse many of this film's flaws. You rated it a good. I'll be a touch more forgiving, if only because Schwarzenegger is so great, and give this a 7.